Hi, I'm Jennifer. This is Unearthed Relics, and in today's video, take a trip with me to the Tournament of Roses Parade and the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. So the day after we arrived in Los Angeles, I went on estatesales.net to try to find some estate sales and found one. It was actually a store, an antique store that was closing, and decided that that would be good since it was closer into Pasadena where we were going to be meeting up with folks. And there ended up being a delightful little Italian restaurant right next to it. So there was a place for my husband to hang out while I went in and did a little treasure hunting. So knowing obviously that I was traveling, some of the bigger things were off limits on this trip, sadly, because there were some really, really cool things. But I focused mainly on the smaller things and had some fun picking through bins of pins and also just kind of looking around for interesting things that I could use in collages and scrapbooks. So I had a lot of fun digging through some of the different little bins of patches and pins that they had there, and did manage to find a few things that were kind of fun. So I got some fun patches. So I thought those little spiders would be good for Halloween. Some sporty kinds of things, so some numbers and a vintage Cubs and Yankees little patch there. Thought it was fun to find something from Indiana while I was there. And then this one kind of made me think of Valentine's coming up, so happiness is being with the one you love. And then another fun little Valentine's thing in one of the buckets of pins. I found this cute little heart. And I got lots and lots of flowers. A whole bunch of those, the kind that are designed to kind of, they look like they were iron-on, but they don't have a little iron-on backing, so I think they would just be stitched onto something. They're really, really cute. And I've already used one. I'll show it off in the journal. So one that looks like this, glued down really easy and made like a fun little 3D-ish journal embellishment as well. And my original plan was to glue these on the front of a journal and kind of make them really floral and look like one of the Rose Parade floats. I didn't end up doing that. Just I thought, you know, when I laid it all out, it didn't look right. But I'll be able to use this stash of things in future craft projects, so I'm excited about that. And then I had lots of fun, as always, looking through the vintage postcards. I was trying to stick to things that were mostly related to California, Los Angeles, that kind of thing. I really, really wanted to find something that was related to Pasadena or the Rose Parade. Anyway, I found this one. This is an old Los Angeles building. This one's Long Beach. Love the outfits that folks have on in that one. Same thing for this. This one says Redondo Beach, and I love this one. Just the, you can see that really cool old ship in the background and then the outfits that everybody's wearing there. I found some vintage ones from the Hollywood Bowl. There's another one. And the Griffith Park Observatory, which is another really fun place in Los Angeles. This one's from San Francisco, but still California. And then some more modern ones. This cool old Continental. So I love it when I find things from airlines that are no longer. So that's a fun postcard. And then I found a vintage Rose Parade postcard, and I love this. This was my favorite find from that thrifting adventure. I had a lot of fun just in the process of digging through things, but it's always great when it pays off and you find the thing that you're looking for. I already put a few of my other finds to good use. So this was a postcard from Yosemite that I had found and put in a collage. And this was a photo postcard that I had found as well and added that into a collage also. We spent the rest of that day wandering around Pasadena, getting some souvenirs and bumping into people. And then New Year's Eve day, spent some time wandering around Monrovia, and a lot of the stores were open, some of them weren't. We loved the Monrovia Bears and had a lot of fun going out on the town and celebrating for New Year's Eve that evening. We got up bright and early on New Year's Day and took the train from Monrovia to Pasadena. They had predicted rain, and sadly, the prediction came true, but we were still really excited to go and see the Rose Parade. So it's raining a little bit.
It is, I'm soaked.
Parade time. What's this going on? Watch out for this. It was a little bit of a hike from the train station to our seats on the parade route, but we were excited to see that the rain wasn't keeping the fans away. This is the parade, like where it will be. Yeah.
So you see over your head the people.
We're walking to our seats, and this will be the site of the Rose Parade in just a few minutes. And it is obviously wet and gross, but it's going to be amazing and fun here in just a few minutes. The flowers are going to definitely brighten things up. We're live at the Tournament of Roses Parade. A little bit wet. After a very soggy parade experience, we decided to take the short walk from the parade route to the Rose Bowl football arena. The tailgating field was a little bit muddy, needless to say, but we had a great view of the Rose Bowl. While I was there, I was looking for a little journal that I could do some journaling in for the trip. I had gone to a couple other stores and was looking for like a small kind of notebooky kind of thing and just didn't find one that I liked. And then I found this one at the Dollar Tree, which seemed perfect given that obviously we were in the Los Angeles area, being in, at that point, Monrovia, but close to Pasadena. And I decided that would be the perfect one. And obviously for $1.25, I didn't mind if I was gonna destroy it, basically, to make a little junk journal out of it. So this is the junk journal that I created, kind of chronicling my adventures while I was in Pasadena. And yeah, take a look. All right, so this is the junk journal that I made for my trip to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. And just did some stenciling on the front and throughout, really. I think that really kind of took it to the next level. It looked kind of drab before I did that, but did some more stenciling kind of throughout and used a lot of the things that I found and got along the way. So like just little baggies and things like that that I was able to get when I went shopping. Different postcards that I found, including that vintage one. I got this one at a local museum in Pasadena. This is the little tag that I created with one of those applique kinds of flowers. I thought that turned out pretty cute. And I just kind of went day by day, showing off some of the things we did. And found along the way there was like another little store, and it was an old store in Monrovia where we were staying. And then for New Year's Eve, we went to a place called the Saltner, followed by a place where we were able to have dinner and celebrate, not quite till New Year's, but New Year's Eve in other time zones. It's a little bit tough when you're on the Pacific time zone because you gotta stay up really late. In any case, the sushi that we had was really good too. Then of course, the next day we went to the Rose Parade bright and early. I just have some things kind of tucked down in here related to the Rose Parade. It had been kind of a lifelong dream to go and do that. Back in 2006, I got to go with some friends to work on this Rose Parade float way ahead of time, just putting some of the dry things on ahead of time. And that's what the final float ended up looking like in 2007. So needless to say, this year's was a little bit different than what I had expected because of the amount of rain and, you know, the parades, the dry things that get glued on, some of them didn't make it. The program that I had gotten was completely drenched. In fact, it was still, like I left it out to dry for a while and then it was still completely drenched. So it looks a little worse for wear in here, but that's kind of a good memory of the fact that we had gotten so very, very, very wet when we were there. And I just kind of cut it up because that was the best way to try to salvage parts of it. So this was just the kind of order of the different floats and things. And then I cut more of those little descriptions out and kind of stuck those in here. So just the ones that I liked a little bit better or were memorable for one reason or another. So kind of stuck those in there. And then the game itself, just have some fun things here related to that, including some of the confetti that came out at the end. So I thought that was kind of a fun addition for that part of it. And then we just did a little bit more sightseeing kind of afterwards, and I tucked down in some other little things that we found and got along the way as we were going to various shops and doing different things. This is, of course, the end here. And then I printed off some pictures at the end, just so it kind of was a little photo album as well, to help us remember all of the different things about the trip. So that is my junk journal from the Rose Bowl and Rose Parade. So at the end of the trip, on the recommendation of one of my coworkers' mothers who lives in the area, I headed to an antique mall, which was really cool. It was actually in a mall, like an outdoor mall, but there were other kind of retail stores. In fact, the antique mall was right next to a Tommy Bahama's, and I would definitely say that that's a first, seeing an antique store or any kind of secondhand store right next to a higher end kind of retail apparel shop. So that was kind of cool and eclectic, we'll say. But they had a wonderful selection of things. So my husband and I had a lot of fun kind of strolling through and looking at the different things. And I did manage to find a few treasures that would still fit in my suitcase. I very rarely find the Nancy Drews with the cover, and one of the vendors in this mall had several of them. But knowing that I had limited space, I had to kind of narrow it down, and I picked these two, which are going to be just treasured things that I will keep in my collections. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of my thrifting and crafting and sometimes traveling adventures. And to those of you who are regular viewers, thank you. I hope that everyone's year is off to a great start, and I look forward to seeing you back here again soon. Bye.